Previously on Gutter Trash.
Like if you get straight A's that quarter, you get to be headlocked by Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, and they called us all into a gym, and the gym was like an assembly, and the Backstreet Boys were there and performed and handed out cassette singles.
We had puppets once, I think, tell us about
Abstinence.
not to let people touch you in your bed place.
And he was in detention too for urinating all over the bleachers.
Being trash sounds so much fun.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
All we ever had was this jump rope team called the Happy Hoppers that would show up.
Well, what if you can't breathe?
Well, fuck those people. They should find new jobs.
He's clearly, like, he's drunker than Frank Miller on NPR.
Of course, I don't have the balls to say anything.
Like, after, he ate shit in front of our feet.
I get a really dirty vibe a lot of times when I go
Well,
in
that's
there.
because really dirty people shop there.
He has a 2-inch deep bruise to prove it.
Every time I walk into a store, I immediately just go into dick customer mode. Where I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to have any kind of conversation. I just want to get the shit that I want, and I want to get the fuck out. Hello. Gutter Trash, episode 17.
17.
Like the Winger song.
Like the Winger song. Classic hit.
My name's Eric.
I'm Jason.
And kind of a special episode today.
You want to announce it?
Like we're getting married.
We're getting married next Tuesday. You're all invited. Originally we were just going to elope, but we figured, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's tell the world.
Yeah, actually, I think this is the second time we've announced our marriage on the show. Yeah.
Well, third time's the charm.
Yeah, well, I guess.
Next time.
Yeah.
Next time for real.
The third time we're really getting married.
Make an honest man out of it.
I'll try.
Alright.
Don't you get away from me.
Okay.
Alright. No.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
But we're joking.
Because I've already spent the past, 3 weeks offending pretty much every single person on the face of the planet.
Yeah, it's like you're...
I should probably balance the karmic scales a little bit and be nice for a while. But, fuck those people. No, we have our first guest.
Yeah.
Ever. Too bad he's not very interesting or anything.
Oh, well, come on.
He's mute.
I'm pretty mute. I don't talk much. I'm the worst special guest of all time.
It's a Ouija board. We got Jack Kirby here via the Ouija board.
Yeah.
To tell us about his new project.
Stan Lee created everything.
For Stan Lee. We knew it. I thought so. You were $5.
Of course, I joke. Stan Lee did not create everything. Not a Stan Lee fan.
So, go ahead and tell Pat who you are.
Yeah, the people.
Well, Pat Kane, you know me. My name is Matthew Brassfield. I'm a local filmmaker from the area.
What people can't see is there's an actual... We just have a picture of Pat's face on our microphone because we picture... he's the only one listening, so... we just pretend like we're talking directly to you, Pat.
That's right. This is just for you, Pat Gang. We do it all for you.
No, I'm sorry. I stepped all over your lines there.
Do you think he's kind of like Damien from The Omen? Like, everything that we do in this room is just for Pat Kane?
It seems like it so far, anyway.
I don't know. We'll have to ask Polanski about that.
Oh, you're still in contact with him?
Let me get the Ouija board out.
Polanski's not dead.
They will be. They will be after tonight. So says Jack Kirby through the Ouija board.
See, here, and I thought we were actually going to announce that you were actually the little girl that he raped.
The Polanski?
Polanski.
I was like, Kirby did no such thing. Maybe Ditko. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Steve. I know you're listening.
Probably somewhere he is listening and a tear just came to his eye.
He's probably doing some awesome demented crime comics that no one will ever see right now. He's got like 340 pages of it squirreled away in his basement.
You ever think maybe it's on the walls of his basement? That's why no one will ever see it.
Except for the meter reader guy. He's like, wow, this is damn good. This is better than your Spidey stuff.
And Dako just stops and says, get out of my house!
So, yeah, if he would have compared it to the question, then, it would have been alright.
You may have forgiven him.
Or what, Mr. A? Was that his other guy?
Mr. E?
Mr. A, I think. Mr. E is a different guy.
That's a lady, I think. Miss Tree. That's what I'm thinking of. Miss Tree.
Miss Tree? Maybe. I don't know.
All quality publications.
From somebody.
So, hi, Matt Brassfield.
Hey, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for coming on our show.
Oh, it's no problem at all. I'm glad to be the first guest and honored to be on Gutter Trash number 17.
Thank you very much. You're pretty much only here because we didn't feel like dropping you off at home.
I understand.
That's true. It's kind of out of the way.
It's only a few blocks down the road. I mean, I could have walked home, but you guys felt nice enough to just let me come in.
Oh, well, you're going to have to anyway, because we usually hang out after the show, so...
Oh, so either way, I'm stuck.
Yeah, you're walking home.
Yeah, you're walking home, yep.
Oh, man.
Didn't even tell him the real reason you invited him.
Only after I cough up my lungs here. The real reason is because you're a damn fine-looking guy.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what Jason tells me every night.
Wow, we're all like closet homosexuals probably because we make like all these hey, you should wrap your lips around my penis jokes.
I don't think anyone's ever said that.
Well, it's implied.
Jason, you always have to put it one step further down.
I just say it like it's spelled.
I think if we were openly just saying fuck all the homosexuals, not literally, but in a violent, hateful kind of way, and not in the literally fuck all homosexuals,
not the intercourse.
Right.
Then we would be.
Okay. Closeted homosexuals.
See, I gotcha.
We're not saying it in a hate crime kind of way.
Okay.
Right. If we were doing that, then yes, we're probably gay.
We can. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We can still be gay.
I
I don't mind if you guys are gay.
I'm pretty
fine.
happy.
I'm
not necessarily.
I'm gay as far as happy. So
Yeah, me too.
Well,
I came out on the show.
I guess then I'm not gay at all.
I'm out of the club. Oh yeah.
Good one.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we it's a movie episode. We saw a movie, and Brassfield here, being a filmmaker, we thought. Well, actually, that's a complete lie. We don't think you have anything to say about filmmaking at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah. But no, we being a filmmaker, we thought maybe a unique perspective. On top of the fact that the movie we saw is a subject near and dear to your heart.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
I swear if a werewolf would have ran through this movie at any one time, I would have said, "You are Darren Aronofsky, aren't you?"
The film was kind of definitely geared toward my interests, wasn't it? There was actual dialogue that I've actually almost said before, which was kind of funny.
I believe it. It was like a magic mirror into your soul.
Kind of was. Yes.
We're, of course, talking about 50 First Dates.
Yes.
One of those dates, you thought he would have remembered, but he really didn't.
I thought it was Drew Barrymore that forgot.
No, was it Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, she forgot.
Yeah, she was forgetting all the dates.
I've actually never seen that movie.
It's actually good. It's actually pretty good. I liked 50 First Dates. I really did.
So one of us have seen
Man, I am
maybe.
gay. I totally am gay.
Could be.
No, I don't think you're gay. You're just a girl.
Yeah, I'm just a wuss. I just offended gay people everywhere by associating them with my wussiness.
Yeah, I offended them all by associating them with your vegetarianism. So.
Yeah, you need to change that, buddy.
So we saw
Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler.
Yeah.
Which, let's see, wrestling is, I know, your big number one passion.
Oh, yeah. Well,
80s heavy metal is probably number 2.
yes.
And yeah, if there was a werewolf in it, you probably would have just had like the most explosive orgasm right there.
Yeah. Probably. You also forgot that it had dark-haired stripper girls in it. Which
he likes
tattooed naked chick
and some old school Nintendo.
Old school Nintendo.
All he was doing. He plays old school Nintendo all the time, every night. I hear it because his bedroom is right over my bedroom in the house, and his TV is like literally over my bed, and I hear like Nintendo music as I fall asleep.
I guess you just you two are roommates.
Oh yeah, we're roommates.
Yes. We've I don't know if we've talked about you on the show before. We've definitely mentioned the other two.
Yeah. The other two.
There's 4 of us that rent a house, and Matt's one of them.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
But yeah, so let me just start off by saying that I love Darren Aronofsky.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a great director.
Oh yeah,
and I've enjoyed most of the films I've seen by him.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because I haven't seen The Fountain all the way through yet.
Mm.
I fell asleep like the couple times I tried watching it.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's great. I just probably need to not watch it when I'm
remotely tired.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I read the comic, the graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
Was that who drew that? Kent Williams?
Kent Williams, yeah. Or John
good.
J. Booth. They're the same guy, basically.
It's his alter ego.
Yeah. So, Matt.
I really enjoyed it. I think that it captured the feel of wrestling, especially like the aging wrestlers. Definitely had a little bit of Jake the Snake Roberts in it with the whole, not keeping in contact with his daughter, and a guy who was on top who is now wrestling in like high school gyms or, little small venues that, maybe 20 people show up for. I think it did a really good job Mickey Rourke really did a good job as far as the guy who used to have it all, who can't let go of his past. I mean, he drove around with, an action figure of himself and still kind of promoted himself like he's still
20 years old.
Yeah, and he couldn't let go of the fact that he was getting older. He was having health problems. It was just really well put together. It was a really well put together movie.
Yeah, I did want to ask you who Mickey Rourke plays Randy the Ram Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to ask you who he was analogous to in the real world.
It looked like 2 wrestlers because there's also a wrestler that used to wrestle for ECW and WCW, and he had a brief stint in WWE named Jerry Lynn, who also went through some of the same kind of problems, who, talented guy and started doing the hardcore wrestling too because he was getting older. Same thing with him. He has a daughter that, he doesn't even talk to, doesn't speak to. Mm-hmm. So it was really like he went and looked at some of the saddest cases in wrestling, and he pulled from all that. There's been tons and tons of professional wrestlers from the 70s and 80s who have died of heart attacks, before the age of 45 to 50, and they've already passed away from heart attacks. Right. I mean, because they do put their bodies through so much. So it was like he took all those elements and just threw it into one character to try to get people to really realize that, wrestling is glamorous. You watch it on TV, you think, these guys are larger than life, but they're actually human beings when it comes down to it.
It looks kind of like a cartoon, but they do, they abuse their bodies.
Yeah, they abuse their bodies. They have no relationships. They have no, interaction with their family, because when you're on the road, especially when you're a big star, guys like Hulk Hogan in their prime, or, even like John Cena or any of these guys, you don't see your family because you're constantly on the road. You get maybe a week off every 2 months, and, they lose contact with their who they are and what their family is. Their family becomes the actual wrestling federation and the fans, and, the documentary Beyond the Mat, I think, does a really good job of also showing the darker side of pro wrestling and, how it affects people's lives.
Yeah, I need to see that. I haven't seen that.
Just don't get me wrong, I love pro wrestling, so I'm not. This isn't a anti-pro wrestling talk.
So I'm getting the feeling maybe you didn't love it.
No, I thought it was great. Why would you?
Okay, it just felt like you were leading up to that because you're like, I like most of his movies. And
No, I was talking about the Fountain.
Yeah, I think he even already said that he liked it before he asked me what I thought about it.
No, you didn't. No, I was curious. I was curious.
No, I was. The main pull, I think, for this movie is the fact that I'm probably the exact opposite of Matt. I cannot ever give a shit about wrestling.
Right.
I don't care. It's fuck that shit, you know. And I mean, I know that being a comic book fan, it's like kind of weird because I mean, it's
Kinda go
sweaty,
hand in hand.
muscly, spandexy guys beating the crap out of each other, and then like soap opera storylines and all that stuff. But
Right.
I can't stand wrestling. Fuck it. This movie actually made me really care.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not... I mean, it's not going to turn me into a big wrestling fan at all. I mean, I'm still never going to watch it. But just watching this movie, I mean, it did a real good job of building up all the... well, at least, Mickey Rourke's character, from that perspective. And all the shit that he went through in the film. And you sort of get an idea of, like, just the lifestyle that he's led.
Yeah.
And
it was really odd too because you at times you shouldn't really like his character because of like the stuff that he does to his daughter, but you can't help finding yourself really liking and caring about the character.
Because he does such a good job of making that character whole. He's a whole human. He's not just some wrestler guy that screwed over his daughter. He's got all kinds of problems. And
see, I don't know that he screwed over his daughter. I know he
abandoned her.
Yeah.
Sort of, but I mean, even then, I still, I get the feeling that it's not really what he wanted to do, but it's just something that he had to do in order to keep his lifestyle the way it was going.
Right.
But I think
I mean, I'm not saying that, it's like, oh, good for him, abandon your kids,
Follow your dreams.
Yeah. If that dream comes calling, just sit the kids in a basket on the steps somewhere.
Yeah.
I think what he was trying to do on that factor as far as with the daughter too was to show that these guys are in love with the business and like I said they lose touch with reality. They start to believe that they are these characters. Anytime you see Hulk Hogan, you don't get Terry Bolla, who's really Hulk Hogan. You get Hulk Hogan, doing the gimmick. And I mean, anytime you see them anywhere out in public, they're not who they really are. Right. They get stuck in feeling like they're a modern Greek god who all thousands of people are cheering for and they can do no wrong.
Right.
And they just lose touch with reality. I mean, I can't speak for every pro wrestler. I can only give my opinion.
Well, you can speak
on the
for
subject.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka. You can speak. He speaks through you telepathically.
Oh, well, yeah.
So,
That's a given.
Other than him and maybe Ricky to the right.
Which, by the way, I don't know if either one of you guys caught at the end when it said special thanks to wrestlers. It did say the Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Okay, I wanted to mention this. You reminded me. If you would have told me that someday I'd be sitting in an art house movie theater and see Nikolai Volkov's name in the credits, I would have said whatever. But it happened tonight. And I only had one beer, so I know I wasn't like just making shit up. That was awesome. Nikolai Volkov. They thanked him.
I thought it was really cool too that they had other wrestlers in it. Like they had Ernest Miller, who was playing the what was the main bad guy?
Oh, the Ayatollah.
The Ayatollah, who was actually Ernest Miller, who used to wrestle.
The Ayatollah.
He used to wrestle for WCW, who is a retired pro wrestler too. So it was kind of nice to see that they actually dug in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they had Ron the Truth Killings in it, who's an actual pro wrestler who's wrestling for WWE right now. That Necro Butcher who did the hardcore match, he's an actual wrestler who actually does that stuff.
Was the guy that was hooking him up with painkillers, the big bald guy?
Oh, I'm sure he was. I didn't recognize him, but I'm sure he's probably some indie pro wrestler out there.
That was impressive.
I do want to ask about the hardcore match.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I've ever seen anything like that.
Oh, it's out there.
Oh, okay.
Like ladders and
barbed wire and staple guns and fluorescent light bulbs hitting each other and falling on thumbtacks. I mean, there's some pretty hardcore wrestling stuff out there.
Jesus.
They've had things before too where they'll like take a baseball bat and wrap it with like a towel that's put with lighter fluid, and they'll light it on fire and hit each other with it. And I mean, there's some really hardcore wrestling out there.
See, we had
That seems to me not to be really wrestling.
I don't know.
Torturing each other.
We had wrestling at my school, and I don't remember any of that. I mean, some of that happened at pep rallies, like behind the bleachers, but
yeah, see, that's the hardcore wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, which in the United States, you know, companies like ECW and XPW brought that into the mainstream here, but you know, there was Japanese federations that actually were doing that for years before.
Leave it to the Japanese. Yeah. Make it crazy.
Yeah.
Years
Turn
before the
everything
Americans
crazy.
did.
Crazy and potentially lethal.
Yeah. Got it. My hat's off to him.
He actually took off his hat.
Yeah.
Good to see that there on the internet.
The only other thing that I really want to talk about was the regular Nintendo game that they were playing, by the way. Because what was cool about that, it's actually a take off of the Acclaim WWF WrestleMania game, and it was almost the same exact game, just with his character.
Right.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, that they actually took the time to make because you saw his name and his likeness on
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
They actually made a Nintendo version of Mickey Rourke. It's pretty awesome.
They should actually release that, and I would probably buy it.
I guess if the movie did extremely well, they probably would.
Yeah.
Seeing as how it only opened here at the Neon, it probably is not going to do very well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame. I think that movie should have made it to
that's surprising.
the main theaters.
That's really surprising. Well, it might be because it didn't have a happy ending, really.
Yeah,
It really didn't.
It's definitely not a Hollywood movie.
No.
I did want to say I love the stripper Pam that he's sort of has a crush on through the whole movie.
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei, yeah, she's awesome. I always have loved Marissa Tomei, but
She still looks good, by the way.
yeah, she looks really good.
She looked great in this movie.
She spends, I'd say, 70% of it naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't you think, I'm sure this is pretty obvious, but they're, both of those characters, have the same exact, lifestyle and job. I mean, they just, put on the show and become this character for people to live out their fantasies. They want to watch wrestlers and, they're like superheroes and Greek gods, like you guys said, or strippers, where most people don't really think of strippers as just a mom or a normal
they think
person.
of them objects.
Well, they don't want to,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they both had the same exact kind of path, and at the end, she sort of
grew
gets
out of it,
that,
right? Yeah.
And he doesn't.
Well, the only reason I think he doesn't is because
He feels like he doesn't have anything.
well, yeah, and because
That's the only time
he tries
feels
to
good.
reach out to Pam, and she rejects him, and it's only that she realizes at the end of the error of her ways that she does make that change, but it's already too late for him.
Yeah.
Because he's snapped. He's gone. He realizes that he has nothing anymore.
Right.
Well, and I think that's one of the one things too about wrestlers. If you look at it, I mean, look at guys like Terry Funk who are almost in their 60s and are still wrestling. I mean, I think they get used to that lifestyle and they don't know anything else.
Right.
Some of them do move on and get normal, legit jobs after they retire, but there's some of them that just can't let go. I mean, look at Ric Flair, who finally just retired last year. I think he was 65 or something like that.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That goes back to what I was saying in the other episode about 65-year-olds doing cool shit, but then my dad, is sitting at home watching Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, you got Iggy Pop and Ric Flair just kind of. Well, those guys have set the bar a little high though for 65-year-olds. I think. I mean, I couldn't imagine my mom jumping off of a turnbuckle. And she's what is she, 30? She's 61 or something? No, she's 66. Oh, wow. Okay. She's older than Ric Flair?
You think she could put a figure 4 on somebody, though?
I don't know. I don't even want to think about that. It's my mom, dude.
Figure 4 is a wrestling move.
I thought that was some sort of Turkish stink bomb or whatever those things are called.
No, the figure 4 is Ric Flair.
What is it called? The squirrel punch or
Donkey punch?
Donkey punch. Yeah.
Squirrel punch.
That's something I drink at church camp. Never mind. I always get those things No, the Shocker. That's what I was trying to think of. The Shocker.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And just
Why are you talking about your mom and the Shocker?
No. That's not where we're going with this.
And one other thing,
You went there.
No.
I'll have to agree with the Ram, by the way, that the 80s music is the best. Bands like Motley Crue.
I heard Accept, Balls to the Wall, and that movie
His
is
Cinderella.
Was, Quiet Riot.
Quiet.
Yeah.
At the end, it was Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. He calls Kurt Cobain a pussy. I mean, yeah, he's right. You know,
He's right.
I love that music, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't rock like the 80s stuff.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that subconsciously I wrote this movie.
Yeah. I know. Exactly. This couldn't have been more Matt Brassfield-ish. Yeah, should we, briefly talk about your movies? You do movies, horror movies.
Yeah, I do local, small budget, no budget horror films. That's pretty much it. I mean, you can check us out at bloodlinevideo.net.
Yeah. Throw a couple names out there or something.
Werewolf of Ohio, Wolf Hunter, It's in the Crawl Space, Razor, Farmer Joe, Mommy Sleepover Massacre, Bark at the Moon. We've done a bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, we've rocked it for going on 11 years now, making independent movies.
And you're having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. You know, our stuff has played in theaters and everything else, so can't complain.
Nice.
Can't complain.
I'll throw a link up when I put up the show.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
If I remember. It'll be 3 weeks, and I'll barely remember that we ever did this episode.
You'll be listening to it cut and be like, Matt was on this?
I've decided I'm not listening to our episodes anymore. It's painful.
This will be the most downloaded, though.
Yeah.
Probably.
If you just put wrestler on there, I'm sure it'll probably be one of the most downloaded.
Yeah, you should try listening to an episode yourself.
I've heard the first one.
Oh, you have not.
Yes, and I heard the test one that you guys did.
The first one in the test one. I think that's all I've heard, actually. I think I've heard up to like 4.
Yeah, unfortunately, we
Six.
don't have
I've
internet
heard
at
of
our house, so we don't get to do much.
Well, Jason has a copy of all the
Yeah,
episodes
I've got
himself. Yeah.
Tangible copy.
Well, thanks for not sharing, Jason.
Wow, there seems like there was something else I really wanted to mention about this movie because I had like 4 things in my brain when we were driving home.
Well, I do kind of want to talk about the plot of it a little bit, or at least just in general. There's almost no plot to this movie. It's just sort of like the life of this
broken down wrestler,
and he winds up having a heart attack. I think like 30 minutes into it.
Yeah,
which basically kind of forces him to retire. But he starts going through all this other crap. He tries reaching out to his daughter, who's been estranged. He tries reaching out to this stripper, and everyone just pretty much rejects him at every turn, which forces him to go back into wrestling. I mean, that's it.
I think what was bizarre though is like at the end though, I think he knew that
he was going to.
That it wasn't a smart idea to go back into wrestling.
Well, that's the one thing. The movie, when it ends, spoiler, it doesn't show you what actually happens.
No,
that point. So you could write your own happy ending for the movie if you wanted to.
Yeah, but it was leading out that
it doesn't.
He wasn't.
It didn't look good. Yeah.
No, but I would say if Mickey Rourke was not in this movie, it probably wouldn't have been all that great a movie.
I agree. He was amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty much your sort of standard almost sports movie, except for at the end, the good guy doesn't win.
It had a touch of Rocky too. If you
a little bit of Rocky,
especially this last Rocky that they did. An aging guy who still feels like he has something to prove. I mean, and that's kind of what the premise of the movie is. It's the human will to live, I guess, and to go on and to do what you want to do.
You seem to want to have to say something.
Oh no, I was just thinking.
Okay.
Can you imagine if this movie would have been like a football movie or like I mean, like wrestling, I think lends itself really good to something like this because, I mean, everybody does just kind of see wrestlers in that one light. I mean, you never really hear that much about, off the mat or ring wrestlers.
Yes, especially if you're not really just your average wrestling fan who just watches on Monday nights or whatever, and all you know is the characters. If you actually start reading into it, I love the business and I love everything about wrestling. I mean, I've watched it since I was a kid, but there's a lot of fucked up things that go on. I mean, you got people like Vince McMahon and everything who make, millions and billions of dollars off of these guys, and when these guys get older, it's like he puts them out to pasture and doesn't care about them. Right. They have no health insurance, they have, no union, anything. So half these guys are broken down, and by the time that they actually are kicked out or retired, they have nothing. I mean, it's kind of sad if you go down the list of all these wrestlers who are broken down and need surgeries and all this, who can't even afford surgeries when they were making Vince McMahon or Ted Turner or all these other people billions and millions. It's like, wow, these people should have more respect for the people who actually made them their money.
It reminds me of probably one of the more depressing scenes in the movie was when he goes to the signing.
And he realizes that everybody there is all the broken down.
But there's only 5 of them there, and they get there's 2 people that come up to everyone. And,
he gets 3 or 4 people to take a picture with him and buy something, but it's completely empty. And
at that point, he's still the more in shape of everyone there. Yeah. But this is weeks after having suffered an almost fatal heart attack and.
He sees this as his future, right?
Yeah.
And they also did, what was great is that he couldn't even afford to pay his rent. If you look at it, he couldn't in the movie, he can't even afford to pay his rent on a trailer. I mean, it just shows you that these guys who used to be big and, they were showing all this stuff of all these matches that he used to have and how big of a deal he was, and now he was nothing.
I loved how they tease you, too. The very beginning of the movie starts out with this pan of all the flyers with... all the events that he's taken part in,
magazines,
and you don't really see them, and you're like, you don't see the events. It just pans over the flyers, and then it cuts to him after a match, and you're like, wait a minute, are they just not going to show much wrestling? And then it cuts right into a match after that.
Yeah.
And then whenever it does the what do they call the one with the step ladder and all that, the blood match,
hardcore.
When they do the hardcore match, I mean, at first you just see the aftermath, and you're like, oh, I would like to have seen how he got all those staples and how that guy got that giant gash on his head.
Yeah.
And then they cut and show it to you.
Yeah.
And then the third time to me that they do that is at the very end of the movie where you think there's going to be another scene because there's this blackness with music, and it goes on just long enough that without credits that you're like, okay, there's going to be another scene. Okay,
right.
They're teasing me a third time,
yeah.
And then there's no other scene.
Right.
I thought that was really cool.
I don't know. I kind of wanted to know what happened to him, but I do like the fact that they leave it up in the air, so your own mind you can kind of play out. Did he pass away? Did he suffer another heart attack? But he's made it, and now he has to retire. Was he all right and just winded?
Did he run away with Pam? And
did they end up meeting back up? And there was a lot of unanswered questions, but it's kind of cool that they did that because you can actually finish the movie in your own mind and kind of piece together what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Again, I gotta just go back to Mickey Rourke in this movie is fucking amazing. Probably one of the best performances I've seen in a while from anyone.
Yeah.
And I know they're calling this his big comeback movie, but he's been around for the past couple of years doing movies.
Yeah, because Sin City, I think was his big comeback movie.
Yeah, he was the best thing in that movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, it seems like everyone's forgotten that. Because, even when that movie came out, that's all everyone ever talked about was how good he was in that movie.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because he had so much makeup on in that
they forgot it was him.
Right.
Yeah, the Marv segments were actually the best of that.
He was really good in a movie called Spun that came out, 10 years ago or 5 years ago or something.
Yeah, it was more like 5
Brittany,
years ago.
Brittany Murphy.
Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah, he was awesome in that as the meth cook.
Yeah. So he's been around, and he's been doing movies where he actually has to act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just up until this one, everyone pretty much just forgot that he's been doing stuff.
To me, it was more of a comeback for Marissa Tomei, because I can't think of the last thing I actually have seen her in, and I think she did a really good job.
I think she's been around. She's been doing like independent films here and there. So I think she was in a movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman like a year ago or so. Apparently, like all her movies she's been in lately, she gets naked. So good for her. Yeah.
She's a fine looking lady. But I think she's an awesome actress. Like,
oh, she's very good. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I don't know if you guys like Oscar, but I fucking love Oscar the movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Seriously. I mean, I know you're a big Stallone fan.
Oh,
so
I love Stallone.
But it is seriously in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, Oscar. And she was really good in, what was it, The Slums of Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
She was great.
Was good too.
She was good in My Cousin Vinny, of course, which kind of brought her into the
well,
spotlight.
she won an Oscar for that, and everyone says that, she should deserve it for that. But I think, and I read this somewhere else as well, that she's been in enough quality movies and given so many great performances since then.
Yeah,
she deserves that Oscar.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not for that movie, but she deserves the Oscar.
Yeah, she's awesome. She almost kind of, for a while, almost stole a couple of the scenes. I was like, man, she might be the best character in the movie. But I mean,
I think
they're
Rourke
both really
reels
strong.
it in.
They're both, yeah. Rourke was amazing, but they were both really, really, really great characters.
I think Evan, how do you say it? Evan Rachel Wood?
Yeah.
I think she did a really great job.
Mm-hmm. She's all right.
I think the scene where when he finally let her down for the last time, I thought that worked really well. I think that her emotions and everything that she showed was really good.
I didn't buy that one so much.
Really?
Yeah.
So I have to agree. Like at the first, I was like, this girl might not be so great, but that scene kind of did it for me too.
The scene where they're actually reconciling really sold me.
Yeah.
But the scene where Mickey fucks up for the last time.
Yeah.
That I didn't buy her performance at all.
I liked when they were making up. When the scene that sticks out is when she actually walks out and puts her arms around him.
Yeah.
I mean, like that sticks in your mind, and you're like, "Wow, that was a pretty powerful small moment, but it was so powerful." You know what I mean? You were like,
I keep crying in front of my friends. I feel like I just got beat up at school, and I'm like, man,
"You're a pussy."
I know. I'm such a.
I was wiping away my own tears.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, don't feel bad. I actually kind of felt myself tearing up at the end when he started feeling the heart attack again, and he's on top of the ropes and he's getting ready to do his finisher, and you're just like, oh man.
I know. Every time I see a movie, I fucking cry.
Even in Cabin Boy, I couldn't fucking believe it.
I'm like, Hell's Bucket, no.
Someday you'll grow up to be a cabin man.
Oh, your pipe's clean.
They're actually kind of dirty. I haven't showered in like 2 days. That's true.
You should also let the listeners or Pat Kane know what's hanging in our living room in our house. By the way,
the giant picture of the Ultimate Warrior, the framed photo.
We have this giant framed poster of the Ultimate Warrior in our living room.
It's pretty awesome.
There's wrestling crap everywhere in that damn house.
There's a Randy Macho Man Savage squirt gun on the kitchen sink. That's all that's it.
Yes, there is.
I forgot about that.
There's a Vampiro toy on top of my computer.
And I noticed you hit a wrestler in the downstairs shower because I was like pooping the other day, and I just kind of looked up, and I wasn't pooping in the shower. I would only poop in the tub. But I noticed that. Who was that wrestler?
Mark Marrow.
He had pink underwear and a mustache.
You've only just noticed that yesterday?
No, like this week. Yeah,
that's been there for months.
Yeah.
I don't even live there.
I remember whenever it was like hanging on a light chain or something once, and I took it down. But then, like the other day, I was like, "Huh." I actually wondered. I was like, "How long has that been there?" It's like
quite a while.
Because I finished my James Kachalka poop reading book,
right?
So I just kind of sit there and like stare at the walls now this week.
Wow, you're going to be constipated forever now. You don't have any Kachalka to read.
I know, he needs to do something. Well, I did actually. I ordered a couple of his books this week. The Mavericks.
You should all
hang backed up.
You should hang his Fantastic Four page in your bathroom.
Oh yeah,
it's true.
I could do that.
Just stare at it and read it over and over.
I'd be afraid of water damage. Actually, I put the new issue of Glamour Puss in the bathroom so I can read that.
I saw that yesterday.
So here's a question I have for both of you guys. Eric, I think, pretty much answered it. You've never watched wrestling at all?
Nope.
Jason, have you ever watched pro wrestling?
I grew up loving wrestling. Like, every Saturday, as soon as cartoons were over, it was the fucking Ultimate Warrior for me. Coco Beware, Junkyard Dog, all that. And then, like, on Monday nights when I was in, like, 7th grade, I would watch Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan do the Monday Night Raw?
Monday Night Raw,
is that what it was called?
Yep.
Yeah, and, like, sometimes they'd have, like, the lamest matches, and it would go on for an hour because it was just, like... I mean, sometimes it would be, like, two guys you'd never heard of instead of just the one guy that you knew was going to lose.
The jobber.
Yeah, the jobber. I like how he had job written on his knuckle. Did you notice that? In the movie, the Mickey Rourke? But yeah, I loved wrestling when I was younger, but I haven't watched any since I was probably like 13, 14, maybe 15.
I still watch it. Still play all the video games.
I did watch when I was like 19 years old. I had this friend that loved wrestling, legitimately. He really did, and he convinced me to watch it with him one night, and I couldn't get into it. It just wasn't the same. Wow, that's awesome. There's a James Kachulka Hulk on the screensaver. That's amazing.
Well, I think one of the reasons why a lot of people who watch the older school wrestling can't get into the newer is because they try to change with times, and the gimmicks are gone. The heydays of the guys like the Ultimate Warrior and the Legion of Doom and Jake Roberts.
It doesn't seem as fun. It seems more like badass. Like everybody's trying to be badass.
Yeah, like Triple H and these just muscle bound guys who
like
are
you never
not
see
gimmicky really anymore.
You never see a guy coming out with like a 3-foot tall parrot dressed in like flamboyant gear and sunglasses anymore. I mean, I loved that. That was so cool.
And I think that was part of the charm for especially older school wrestling is, you had these normal kind of guys too, but they were still cartoon characters, like, your Randy Savage who, would had this unbelievable voice and talked about how, smacked his woman around because she wouldn't listen to him,
Leaping Lanny Poffo and
who's actually Macho Man's brother, by the way.
And
it's funny you said that.
And the evil version of Dave Hemner, the referee. Like, there was an evil twin episode. It was such a, like...
Yeah, where Hogan... he screwed Hogan in the match.
It's like a soap opera. Yeah, and then, like, because he gets knocked under the ring or something, and then he comes back out, and you're like, oh, that's weird. The referee went under the ring, and now he's coming back out, and he's okay. And then, like, he
fast counts the
counts. And you're like, what? And then, like, the real one comes out, and there's these two old guys that are twins, like... as referees, and they're like staring down at each other, and you're like, "What? This is fucking crazy! This is great!" But yeah, I couldn't see them doing that anymore. Now they just ride out in Harleys and like slap their muscles and like I don't know.
Well, modern wrestling, I think, now is more about not like during the '80s. It was definitely still about selling a product. They had WWF ice cream bars for God's sakes. Cartoon shows and tons of toys. And
I watched Hulk Hogan's wrestling cartoon.
There you go. Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep. And Captain Lou as Mario in the Mario cartoon.
You have seen wrestling.
have you seen that? What's that clip of Captain Lou on the Mario show where he says some unbelievable F words or something on the kids show? Like he didn't know the camera was on.
Oh, that just surprised me.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Look it up on YouTube, everyone. And it's like Captain Lou Albano goes nuts and curses in front of the kids on the Mario show.
Captain Lou is a crazy son of a bitch.
With his rubber bands in his beard. Man, I do want to go watch old wrestling with you now.
I have tons of old VHS tapes of wrestling.
Let's do it up someday.
Let's see. Mickey Rourke is in fucking fantastic shape.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He was goddamn ripped.
That reminds me, he's going to be wrestling.
Supposedly, he's supposed to be at WrestleMania to take on Chris Jericho. Because I guess he's actually now legitimately trained as a wrestler. He can actually wrestle now.
So, like, did he did his own stunts in the movie?
Yeah. Supposedly, I don't know how true this is, but there was a rumor that it was Rob Van Dam and Ric Flair were actually two of the guys that trained him and taught him how to sell and and how to do everything.
On the credits, but I mean, that doesn't. I looked on the credits. I was looking for all of the wrestler names I recognized, and I didn't really see too many. But
I seen Brutus the Barber Beefcake on there.
Really? Wow. Wouldn't that be some horrible... Oh, God, I hope this doesn't happen, but, like, what if Mickey Rourke had a heart attack while wrestling at WrestleMania? That's some Brandon Lee shit right there.
To be honest, I really don't think that he's going to show. I mean, a gut feeling... because he is a serious actor. I mean, and you got to think. I mean, and it's no offense, but is he really going to take the chance of getting in the ring and actually getting hurt or anything else for
his boxing career?
Yeah.
Did he have a boxing career?
Yeah, he quit acting for a while. And that's why his face is so fucked up now.
Yeah.
I forget what I was doing, but I think it was on Amazon or something looking for a movie, and like an old 1986 era Mickey Rourke movie showed up, and like his face was on the cover, and like you can seriously tell that his face is completely different than how he used to look.
Oh yeah,
his face got fucked the shit up when he started boxing.
I didn't know what happened because even his whole physique. Like if you watch, he was in Barfly. He played Charles Bukowski in the Barfly. Yeah. And if you see him, I mean, he looks like skinny and like.
Yeah,
he looks like Bill Pullman or something.
Yeah, he's kind of a pretty boy.
Yeah, he was the rugged pretty boy when he first got around. And, they marketed him as the rugged pretty boy.
Yep.
No, I want to see one of his boxing matches now.
Have you ever seen the Randall Tex Cobb boxing match?
No, they got.
Oh my God, from Raising Arizona. He boxed before he was an actor, and man, that dude can take a punch. He sucks as a boxer, but I mean, my God. I forget who he was facing. I think like Frazier or something, and man, they knocked the fuck out of him. But he would not go down. It was amazing.
Randall Tex Cobb.
That's probably the only time Randall Tex Cobb has been mentioned on a podcast, by the way.
Maybe not. Unless there's like
we are pioneers here.
Maybe there's like a Married with Children podcast out there
that just talks about Randall Tex Cobb.
Yeah.
Was he in?
He was on an episode.
Oh, okay. So,
look it up. It's true.
He was on one episode.
And so was Anthrax, by the way.
That's true. I remember that.
I listened to Anthrax today while I vacuumed the house.
It's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
I watched the Super Friends while I was cleaning up.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore too. Did you cry? I cried while I was listening to Anthrax.
I cried while watching Super
We always
Friends.
cry. That's all
Superman died.
No. Did they shoot him out into space?
Yes.
I've seen that episode. Firestorms in it?
Yes.
Of course, yeah.
Who gets captured by
Matt?
Darkseid? Yep.
Let me take a second to describe Matt to anyone that doesn't know Matt. Matt is like every stoner I've ever met in my life times 1,000, except for he does not smoke weed. Like I'll get up at I'll come home at like 3 in the afternoon if I get off work early, and I'll come home and he'll be laying in his bed with like a laptop on his chest and like a bag of Lay's potato chips, and he's playing Nintendo at the same time, and there's like litters of DVDs and comic books everywhere in his room. I'm like, how can this guy not smoke weed? It's unbelievable. If you did smoke weed, I bet you would be like, yes, sir, I'm attending business school.
That would conform.
Yeah, it would just like blow your mind, or you'd go in reverse weed mode. You'd be like the most straight dude ever. I can't believe it. I'm like, how does he not smoke weed? Do you really, like in the middle of the night, maybe smoke weed?
No.
Like, whenever you go to the dollar
store. I'm just generally that cool, Jason.
Like at work, you're like, I'm going to run outside and get something from the dollar store to drink. Are you really just like toking up in the van or something?
Shaking down the car.
That's unbelievable.
Just for my next hit.
Like his blood produces his own THC.
That's possible.
Then maybe that's what it is.
Because I mean, don't you have like a problem with your heart where it's too slow and everything?
No, it speeds up too much.
Oh, it speeds up too much.
Yeah.
You should try smoking weed.
So I have to actually take medicine to slow it down.
Is that medicine called marijuana?
Yes. No, of course not.
I knew it. If anybody out there has marijuana, I'll totally buy some from you. Is that legal?
No.
Well, then I was joking. You can't say that I'm winking. Damn it. Oh, well. Pat, do you know anybody?
Man.
If you do, Pat, I kind of want to talk to you about something too.
Yeah, something different, of course.
You know what the best part would be?
Completely legal.
Is the first day this goes up, Jason's cell phone's going to ring. From Pat.
He's like, I don't know if you're kidding or not, but this dude that works at the tanning salon.
All you have to do is just go to Christopher's.
Oh,
that's true.
Oh, it's okay to say that because it's not true. nobody there. What?
In fact, I am not Matt Brassfield. My name is Charles.
Charles Brassfield.
I think with that, we should wrap this up.
Wrap it up like a joint and smoke it.
Well, I have one more question. It's not wrestling oriented, but it's something that I know you guys haven't talked about on this podcast. Is I wanted to know what your guys' favorite comic villains was. Like your actual main favorite comic villain, and then like the guilty pleasure comic villain, the one that you're just kind of like, you know what, he's horrible, but I love him because of this.
Well, let's think about that, and we'll come back with an answer.
All right, that sounds good.
Yes, all three of us.
I'm still here as well.
Sorry, everybody.
Thank you again for coming on the show.
No problem. Like I said, I've had a blast, and thank you guys for letting me be the first guest. And hopefully, you guys, if you ever want me again to come back on and talk about something like pro wrestling or something.
We're done with you.
Maybe when the next Stallone movie comes out, I can share my love for Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
Rambo 5 and Rocky 6 come out, you're on.
Yeah.
It'd be Rocky 7.
Rocky 7, that's right. I'm sorry.
Or Stallone does a werewolf movie or something.
Or Oscar 2.
Or Oscar 2.
I'm all about it.
That would be a special 2-hour episode. Where Jason would reenact the whole first Oscar.
I could do some of the lines. I mean, I seriously, it's one of those things where, like, if I hear a line, I know like some of the next lines. I've seen it way too many times.
All right, but before we left, Matt asked us a question.
Oh yeah,
about supervillains.
Oh, yeah.
Our favorite ones and our favorite guilty pleasure ones.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Okay.
Give.
Well. I mean, I know this is kind of like saying, like, hey, what's your favorite rock and roll band? I'm like, oh, Led Zeppelin, they rock. Obviously, they do, but I can't help it. My favorite supervillain of all time is the Joker. I can't help it. Like, every time when I was a little kid, if I saw a comic that had the Joker in it, I bought it, or I read it, my brother's copy or whatever. Like, and 90% of them were good, at least in the 80s, I'd say. Like, I mean, they got kind of bad in the 90s. Some of the Batman stuff was just all over the place, but he's definitely a character that I love and usually enjoy the stories that he appears in, no matter who writes them. So yeah, I'd say he's my favorite villain. And unfortunately, I think Wizard picked him as like the best villain ever, years ago, and I feel even worse about that.
Here's a quick question too, since it's the Joker. Who do you think played the best Joker as far as
Caesar
in
Romero.
the movie?
Caesar Romero. Yeah.
Nice. All right.
No, I like them all actually. I legitimately enjoy the Caesar Romero one because it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. But I thought Jack Nicholson was awesome, and I thought Heath Ledger was amazing and deserved the posthumous Oscar. And
he hasn't gotten it yet.
Yeah,
I think Mark Hamill, who did it for the animated series, does a great
awesome.
Joker, especially with the laugh.
That's probably my favorite. Yeah.
I mean, and did you see, Eric, by the way, then, if you like Mark Hamill as the Joker, that there's a new video game called Gotham Arkham Asylum or something like that's coming out, that Mark Hamill's actually doing the voice of the Joker in the game again.
Nice.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Exclusive at GameStop or something, right? Or
GameSwap.
GameSwap.
That's right.
But my guilty pleasure villain, I would say, is I spoke his name earlier, although I didn't mean to. The Shocker. I love the Shocker. I've always loved him. I love yellow.
Full circle.
I love yellow costumes. I really do. Like the old Daredevil costume is my favorite Daredevil costume. I've always loved the Shocker's costume, but he's never really done anything really epic. Like the only cool things he ever does is like hang out with the other 5 villains and and battle Spider-Man all at once. And then he seems scary, but I was really stoked when the issue of Amazing Spider-Man came out a few weeks ago that had Marcus Martin drew it and Mark Waid wrote it, and the Shocker was in it, and I was like, yes! Like I love Marcus Martin's art, and I love the Shocker, and I just kind of got a secret boner for that.
I dig the Shocker too.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about his costume that I've always liked.
Yeah,
I like the quilt thing.
It looks real. Awesome. It looks like real because like so many of the costumes look like just tight spandex.
Right.
His looks like it has a little bit of flavor and a little bit of
purpose, even.
Yeah, like tangibility, and you'd really see a costume like that on somebody. I love it.
I hope Sam Raimi uses him for Spider-Man 4.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a rumor that he was supposed to be in part 2, like opening the movie, and it was supposed to be like almost like a throwaway villain, and Spider-Man was supposed to just beat him up, and that was it for him. I almost kind of wish that would have happened just because, just to see him on the screen.
Yeah. Like he'd only be on the screen for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and he'd get his butt kicked and then he was out the door. But I mean,
more superhero movies should take that approach. The James Bond opening.
Have a supervillain right out the get go, but he's gone through the rest of the movie because he gets his ass kicked.
Yep. Well, didn't that happen to Scarecrow in Batman?
Kinda, but he was the main villain or one of the main villains in the first one.
Right? So I mean, they're kind of showing you that he's still around.
The Mad Hatter, or Killer Croc, or something like that.
Yeah, that would have been cooler.
Yeah, but that movie sucks, so whatever.
So about you? Who's your favorite villain?
My favorite supervillain. I have a ton of them.
It's like picking a favorite child.
It really is. I mean, because the Joker is definitely up there too, and Doctor Doom. I've got 3 that I can't really choose between,
Okay.
so I'm gonna just name them all.
Shoot them off.
Yeah,
All
go for
right. Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. He's pretty fun.
I'm not as big as a Flash fan as some other people.
Yeah.
One we know and one we listen to every week. But as much as I do like the Flash, though, Reverse Flash has always been my favorite villain of his because, yellow costume.
Yeah. Exactly.
And just everything I've read with him in it, he's just such an evil dick. Then I love Bullseye from Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil is like one of my favorite comic characters ever, and Bullseye is, I think, is his top arch nemesis. Fuck Kingpin and all that shit. Bullseye is the guy.
So you love the movie then, obviously.
No, the movie was fucking terrible.
See, I agree, because I always thought Kingpin, too, was kind of a boring character for me. I mean, I never really got into that character at all.
Bullseye, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But even then, beyond that, Bullseye then had his own agenda against Daredevil at that point.
Right.
And most of the people that Kingpin would ever hire were more interesting than the actual Kingpin himself.
Right, yeah. Then the third one is Bizarro.
Oh, yeah.
But only funny Bizarro. like the Jeff Johns, Eric Powell version of Bizarro.
Right. Or the, 60s Bizarro.
Right.
The goofball one, right?
Yep. So those, I can't.
He's pretty classic. Actually.
Yeah, I can't choose between those 3 to pick out one, so I gotta mention all 3.
All 3 of them are good picks.
Yeah. Guilty pleasure. It's probably gonna gain some ire, but Venom.
Oh, yeah.
I think he is probably one of the shittiest villains to ever be created because he's a fucking costume.
Yeah.
And Eddie Brock is probably the most one-note fucking character ever created. And I guess now it's the Scorpion is the new Venom, which makes no goddamn sense anyway.
Scorpion is, really?
Yeah. In Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers or whatever. It's the guy who used to be Scorpion is now Venom.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So who's Eddie Brock? Carnage?
Eddie Brock is now anti-Venom.
Okay, I've heard of anti-Venom.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was him.
White costume, Venom, basically.
Yeah.
Man, they're running out of ideas of when to Hulk. Anti-Venom.
We're not talking about anything related to that anymore.
Fucking jail.
I've already done the intro for the last episode.
Yeah.
I'll let you listen to that.
Sounds good.
No, I think he's a goddamn terrible character, but there's something about him that I still, I know I shouldn't at all like this guy.
Right.
But, every time I see him show up in, a Spider-Man kind of alright, this could be kind of cool. But, I secretly hate myself.
For wanting to buy it.
Right.
I've noticed about your picks, too. You got Bizarro, who's, the evil
Oh,
version
wow,
of
yeah.
Superman. Venom's the evil version of Spider-Man.
Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash, yeah. You're it's brilliant.
Wow. Okay.
Something
Bullseye's the only safe one that doesn't have a good version.
But,
I'm a one-note kind of guy.
no, that's not what I was saying. I just thought it was interesting.
I love shitty things. Thanks.
Good night, everybody. No, I was just thinking, it's cool that you're, maybe you're peering into the darkness that is untapped in the hero, and you're like, wow, the mirror version of them could be really interesting and exciting. Or you just like the yellow costume and the way Eric Larson draws crazy teeth.
Yes.
I will say my favorite Venom is Eric Larson's Venom.
Really?
Yeah.
The out of control
Where it just
green
is so,
slime from his mouth.
Yeah, so exaggerated and crazy looking. That's my favorite.
I prefer classic McFarlane Venom.
Mm-hmm. Very cool too.
Yeah, I mean Eric Larson. I love Eric Larson. He's a personal hero, but don't like his version of Venom. But only because I know he hated Venom so much that that's the only reason that he even made Venom look the way he did when he drew him.
Right.
And the tongue, I think, is what bothers me the most.
Yeah, I like the tongue too.
And just ever since that point, everyone's just gone butt fucking crazy with it.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
There's always slobber everywhere.
Yeah.
And,
but then
flies.
again, that all ties into why I just have this secret hate of Venom and hate
But
myself.
still, you love him.
Right, yeah. So conflicted.
Yeah. How about you then? What are your favorite villains?
Favorite actual super villain would probably be Doctor Doom, which is kind of cliche, but I mean, there's just something about him where he doesn't even really realize that he's a bad guy. By taking over the world, he thinks that he would actually make the world a better place.
He's kind of like George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Okay.
But way cooler.
With nicer costume.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that fact that he thinks that he's basically helping the world by if he took over.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of cool about that character. Honorable mentions would be like the Abomination, because I've always liked him since I was a kid and used to buy Hawk comics anytime I seen him facing the Abomination.
Is that as a guilty pleasure or as a favorite?
Favorite.
Okay.
And then also Craven would be one of my favorites. And
I know you like Craven.
yeah, you know, the death of Craven always sticks out the last time and is always stuck in my head. You know what I mean? Whenever I think about comic books.
That's such a good series.
Guilty pleasure would be the Wendigo. He's just so bad, and all he does is say his name over and over. But there's just something about that big, hairy white guy that I just love.
Wait a minute, don't you like Solomon Grundy a lot, too?
Yes, I do.
He's another big, hairy white guy that says his name over and over. You guys are all the same.
But I
Don't
didn't
you like
mention
Alec
him.
Baldwin as well? He's a big hairy white guy as well.
Does he say his name over and over?
I think so.
Who's hairier, Baldwin or Ron Jeremy, though? Jason would be an expert on this one.
I haven't seen much Baldwin porn, but I would have to say Ron Jeremy. The Hedgehog.
So those would be my picks.
Nice.
All right.
Wendigo.
You should read that Winda Hulk issue.
I think I will.
I can't get away from it.
Wendigo.
We haven't said it, so it's all right.
Okay. Don't say its name.
Yeah, don't.
It will show up.
Yeah. we need a new whipping boy.
Yeah.
We could always go with Greg Land, which would tie into the whole wrestling thing.
Fuck Greg Land. He's horrible. Greg Land is to comic art what my poop is to salad dressing.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Whatever.
But why would
so
you guys
clever.
target them when guys like Rob Liefeld, or is he too easy of a target?
Too easy.
He's an easy target, but I honestly would say he's a better artist than Greg Land.
I would agree.
Because he actually draws.
Yep.
Even though it's like not proportioned and it's weird and like,
Rob
doesn't make any
Liefeld
sense.
is a bad artist, but you can clearly see that he loves what he does.
Yeah.
And that he's just having fun, and that earns a little bit of respect. He's not good at it, but he's got a passion for it.
Yeah.
Greg Land is a hack.
Yeah. He just traces porno covers and slaps them on.
I'm sorry, Greg. I'm trying to
X-Men.
take up for you, buddy, but
It's terrible.
I have nothing.
I don't like slagging on anyone because, whatever, if some people like it, but to me personally, my personal taste is that his art is fucking awful.
Yeah.
What comics has he done?
He did a bunch of X-Men. Didn't he do Sojourn? He did
Sojourn,
Uncanny X-Men.
Sojourn
Ultimate
looks
Power.
good, though. The actual book of Sojourn looks really good. I mean, when you flip through it. Although I do agree that tracing porn actresses and doing underage X-Men characters is kind of creepy and gross.
Yeah.
But, I don't think that would be my worst as far as art-wise, but I can respect
it's not
that you
the
guys...
worst.
Yeah, visually, if you just saw one image, you're like, oh, it looks kind of neat.
Yeah.
But then if you look, he's just fucking tracing porno characters and lightboxing them
and using them over and over again.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's only so many times you can see Jenna Jameson as Sue Storm
He's the
taking
Fantastic
it from the
Four.
ass, with her facial expression, that you would expect from that act happening.
Yeah.
But the comic, it's like Galactus is eating the building, and she looks like someone's ramming it up her.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just kind of bad as far as
Or
not
then,
creative at all.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's
I don't mind if
non-creative.
something's bad, like badly drawn, I
Right.
could still like it. But if it's just poorly executed,
I mean,
And then
you supported
I
Mr.
mean, there's
Evil.
other things too, like like 2 pages later, it'll be a completely different porn actress as Sue Storm, and she'll be having whatever painful orgasmic face she's making, but it's a completely different situation that's occurring.
Gotcha.
And it's
and her features look different. You're like, is
Right,
it supposed to
right.
be the same person?
yeah, that's a little. That's just not creative.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like taking an old Hawk book and tracing over it and being like, "Look, I created this."
right.
No, you didn't.
I
You
bet
just
he
traced
could.
that.
I mean, he seems like he's capable of doing
He has.
it.
And back in late 90s, early 2000s, before he even worked on Sojourn, he drew. He could draw.
Yeah.
It's probably because people started liking what he was doing, so now he's stuck because certain fanboys are probably like, "Oh man, that's so hot! Look like Sue Storm, look like she's taking it up the ass," and then they're like, "He's like, oh, well, Marvel keeps buying it, so why not?"
Yeah, it's true.
Fuck Greg Alright,
Greg Horn too. Fuck that guy too.
I just don't like that guy anyway. But I can't complain as much about him.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. If people like him, and I hope they make a career out of it. I just hope they try to do it a little bit better. Don't just rip off pornographics and actually do something creative. Man.
If you're going to have Ultimate Nick Fury in your comic, who is based off of Samuel L. Jackson, find a fucking picture of Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah.
and use that for all the pictures of Ultimate Nick Fury, rather than not Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I always feel bad when I slag on these professional comics artists. 'Cause
They're not listening.
at least they have a job in the field or whatever.
Well, you're not really slagging on him. You're just giving your personal opinion.
Yeah, it's just
I mean,
I wish they could do better. I mean, I think all these guys are capable of doing so much better, and that's what pisses me off. It's not that I hate them. I hope they're rich and have a long career, but
And we've said that about the
Yeah.
guy whose name we should not name.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys, both of you guys do comic books, so it's in your industry. I mean,
Yeah, it's-
I know with me and my movie buddies, we sit around and, we complain about other directors
Right.
and things. I mean, like Michael Bay for me is complete garbage. I mean, he just takes other product right now and leases it out,
Yeah.
remakes Texas Chainsaw Friday the 13th,
see,
or
that's the same
yanks
thing.
from Transformers and says, "Oh yeah, I'm Michael Bay."
Well,
Explosions.
That is
woo."
the same thing. It's like, because you see this guy and you're like, wow, he's got this vehicle. He can do whatever he wants because, he works for Marvel. He, directs these movies. And they, instead of, doing something really creative, they, just do something cheesy and redundant.
buck.
And, yeah.
It's the quick buck syndrome.
You're
I
like,
mean,
you can do so much better.
yeah.
Oh, well.
So I mean, it's not really ragging. It's just you're in the same field, and not everybody's going to get along, and not everyone's going to respect each other's work. So it's not like you're really dogging these people.
Right. And like you said, they're not listening.
There. So, this is Matt. This is the point in time where we usually, where I find out what I'm gonna have to sit through or push myself to read.
Okay.
And this is an epic day. We've seen The Wrestler, and it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
This is
it
epic.
We missed the Super Bowl to watch Mickey Rourke wrestle again.
As much as I liked The Wrestler, I probably would have rather been watching the Super Bowl.
Really?
So, yeah,
Super Bowl party.
Super Bowl party, free food.
I'm sorry that today was the only day I was available.
It's all right. I will say that luckily my curse didn't really go into full effect today.
No, yeah, it was
My gift.
relatively quiet.
Yeah. I did hear Doogie talking once, and Juliet. I heard her talking.
That wasn't
once or
Juliet,
twice.
actually.
That was Casey.
Yeah, it was
All right.
Casey.
Well, then those two, I heard them talking a few times, but at least it was only once or twice, and not throughout the entire fucking movie.
And a lot of it was just laughter when something funny would come on.
Well, yeah, I totally understand laughing when something funny happens. I mean,
Yeah.
it's why we're there to see the movie.
Yeah, it was pretty tame.
Yeah.
Pretty tame.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, what am I going to be reading?
Well, earlier in the week, I warned you. I was like, I have something that I really want to pick, but it's kind of big, and you're like, big, like what? And I'm like, well, it's pretty thick and big, and you're like, well, is it a graphic novel or a trade paperback? And I was like, well, neither. And then I finally told you it's an anthology, so I think you were guessing which ones it was.
Right.
And you said you thought it was either the Meat House anthology, the latest one,
right,
or Comic Book Tattoo, the Tori Amos.
Right.
It's neither one of those.
All right. Okay.
It's Kramer's Ergot #7.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't have enough room in my house to be able to have that in here.
It's pretty tall. It's really not that thick. I think it's less than 100 pages, which for a graphic novel, it's not very big. But
so you lied to me, basically, is what you're saying.
How so?
Because you said it was pretty thick.
Well, it is thick, but
if it's less than 100 pages, then
I said big. Like when we were driving, I just said big. Today.
No, you said thick because we were at Mavericks.
No, I was like big. I said it's big. It's pretty big.
You said it's pretty thick, and I held up a trade paperback and I said, like, this thick? You said no, thicker.
Well, I was,
and I grabbed like 4 trade paperbacks, and you're like, yeah, kind of.
Well, you know what I was doing? I was thinking of cutting the book in 4s and placing them all on top of each other, because basically that's what you'd be doing. Because it's, it's like the size of 4 trade paperbacks, like the face of it. And I was just thinking about them all stacked up together, and I was like, oh, it'd be like reading something this big, because you're basically every page you read is 4 pages of a book. So I was trying to do the math that way.
Whatever.
But I was so excited to read this book because it was supposed to come out in early December or middle December, something like that. And they shorted us. We only ordered 2, but they sent they only sent 1. They allocated our order, and it didn't look like they were ever going to send the other one because we didn't get it for the next couple weeks. And I was like, oh fuck, we're not going to get it. And it showed up this week, and I was so excited. I was like, okay, I have to pick it because I'm so stoked to read it.
So you bought it?
Oh yeah, I bought it. Yeah.
$150 some book.
It was $125. Yeah. But I got my discount, so
25% off.
And I've already read most of it.
Right.
I just started it yesterday, so I'll definitely pass it over your way.
We'll wheel it over here.
Yeah.
See if we can. Will it fit in my door if we go sideways?
It's about the size of a large couch. Yeah. It's really tall. It's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet tall, something like that.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here I am surprised.
And yeah, when you guess Comic Book Tattoo, I was like, I'll just let him think it was that, and that way it'll be a surprise.
Yeah, we made the deal, and you screwed me on it.
You said you can tell me if I guess it right. I'm all about semantics. I'm sorry.
You're an asshole. All right. Anything else anyone wants to say?
Go see The Wrestler. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
he's very good. Yep.
Definitely go see it. Do you want to just say what everyone's working on real quick before we get off? That way people can kind of keep an eye.
I'm not working on a goddamn thing.
Eric's not working on a goddamn thing.
I have a podcast. It's called Gutter Trash.
Yeah.
You should listen to it.
There we go. He's working on Gutter Trash as we speak.
I'm working on a mini comic to give away at this year's Space, the Small Press Alternative Comics Expo, April 18th and 19th at the Aladdin Shrine Complex in Columbus, Ohio.
Which you can see both of you guys.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Both of them. So you can have them sign your copy of your Gutter Trash T-shirt that you bought.
So yeah, go to that show. It's fucking great. There's all kinds of great small press stuff.
Yeah, there's no one going to be there anymore. Dave said his cousin.
There's some can't be there anymore.
There's no reason to go.
Check it out. Check out their website. It's at backporchcomics.com.
Why isn't it at space.com?
Well, there's a space section at backporchcomics.com.
Nice.
Too complex for me.
I'm working on that. I'm working on a free comic. I'm giving it away. You can't find this kind of deal. Does Greg Horn give away shit? I don't think so. What are you working on?
Working on actually Mavericks, which is where me and Jason both work. They're carrying no budget local movies now, and I'm actually working on a movie that's going to be sold just exclusively through
Backdoor
Mavericks.
Backdoor Grandma's 4.
Sure. It's actually a remake of the Wolf Hunter, and it's going to star Plexi Star, and it's basically I'm taking the original script, which Matt Hoffman and myself wrote, and like it got all jumbled when the original was filmed, and we're just going to go in and shoot the actual original script now.
So you're Michael Bay in it?
No. Not so much Michael Bay, because I would be just remaking something that I already created.
No,
and I'm just going to make it and turn it up and make it what it should be.
so you're George Lucas in it?
Kind of, yes. I'm Lucas in it.
You see, what people don't know is actually Michael Bay gave the idea for Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Tobe Hooper.
Oh, wow.
He traveled through
That was nice of
time.
Yep. Very, very kind of.
And said, "Yeah, Toby, you should really get John Larroquette to narrate the film."
Was that John Larroquette?
Yeah.
Dan Fielding?
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing.
Mr. Henderson from Harry and the Hendersons.
Was he in that?
What? No, he wasn't in that.
Wasn't he?
No.
No, you're right. No, he wasn't. That was John Lithgow.
Yes.
Well, they have the same initials.
That's true. But trust me, I know everything about John Larroquette that there is to know.
I think you're going to say about Harry and Henderson.
I love that guy.
I do love that movie.
Can you imagine an Art Adams comic of Harry and the Hendersons because of his like mad ape skills?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I just want to say no more remakes from Hollywood. That's my closing words.
It'd be nice, but I gotta say that there are some good remakes out there.
Yeah, I didn't mind the Hills Have Eyes remake,
Hills
and
Have
I did.
Eyes was good. Texas Chainsaw was good.
Yeah, that was
The Fly, David Cronenberg.
Yeah. The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah. They're making a prequel.
Yeah, which I'm kind of excited about, because
Really?
I heard
Yeah.
Carpenter's kind of giving it his blessing on it, and
I didn't know that. But
yeah, and I guess he read what it was kind of supposed to be about, and supposedly he's saying that it's supposed to be pretty good.
Hey, better than a remake, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have no problems with sequels or prequels or whatever you want to do. I didn't even mind the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween,
I haven't
surprisingly.
seen it, but I do want to.
Yeah,
I do like Rob Zombie's movies. I loved Devil's Rejects.
It's going to be one of those movies, Eric, I can guarantee you, at the beginning you're going to be like, what the fuck? But then as it starts going on, you're going to be like, all right.
Rob Zombie's got a new movie coming out, too. Tyrannosaurus Rex.
He actually put that on the back burner now.
Really?
Did you
I
hear
know that he's going to do Halloween 2.
That's what he's doing before it now.
Okay.
They stopped the production of the one to go into Halloween 2,
Huh.
which is probably pretty smart, because he's probably just going to use the money that he makes on that to put into the Tyrannosaurus Rex movie,
Right.
which is kind of smart, and
Yeah.
I would do the same thing if somebody came to me and said, hey, why don't you make a sequel to one of your movies? Well, okay. Here's the money.
Also read today, and I know we're probably running long by this point, but fuck it. There's 3 of us, so there's more time that we need to talk.
More yapping. Going on.
Yeah. I read today that Sam Raimi's got a new movie coming out called Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
His first non-Spider-Man movie in 10
Wow.
It's
years.
like this May, I think, right?
Yeah.
And a return to the horror genre.
And Return to Horror, which he hasn't done since Army of Darkness, I guess.
Doesn't it
Yeah.
sound kind of Army of Darkness-ish, though?
No.
Isn't it about a guy that works at a store?
I think it's more along the lines of like a Ring or an Asian horror movie.
He seems to really like
Yeah.
that genre, because The Grudge, and he was involved with the remake of that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's just his thing.
Yeah. And as much as I am a fan of Sam Raimi, as much as a fan I am of horror movies, as much as I would really love to see an Evil Dead 4, I'm pretty much settled on the fact that it's probably never going to happen.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell's, I think, getting way too old
Yeah.
to even pull it off at this point anymore.
But as long as Sam Raimi makes movies other than Spider-Man once in a while, perfectly happy.
You're all right with that?
Yeah. I liked the Spider-Man movies except for the third one. But
Yeah.
I think the
But
closest
it had
thing...
your favorite Venom in it.
I think the closest thing to Evil Dead 4 you're going to get is those PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games where Bruce Campbell voices Ash. I think that's sadly probably the closest you're going to get to it.
Or My Name is Bruce. coming out on DVD in a few weeks.
I heard it's terrible.
Oh, I don't care. So is Man with the Screaming Brain, but I still loved it.
I still haven't seen that either.
It's terrible,
Yeah,
but
really?
I loved it.
I own it, so you can watch it if you want to.
All right, we're gonna take off. And what the hell are we doing next week?
Kramer's Zerk.
Kramer's Ergot. Okay. All right, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Wow. Oh shit. All right. Whatever. Bye.
Gutter Trash can be downloaded at www.guttertrash.net, iTunes, Podcast Alley, and Feedburner. You can also find us at myspace.com/guttertrash_net, seanborn.net, and buyerbewarecomics.blogspot.com. Contact us at eric@guttertrash.net or jason@guttertrash.net. Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. We'll see you next time.